I hate my special needs sister and I'm done hiding it. When my younger sister was born, she almost died from hypoxia. She suffered severe brain damage to the point where doctors doubted she would survive. She has survived and she's 16 years old now. However, she is about as close to brain dead as a living person can get. She can't move, she can't communicate, she can't eat or drink on her own. She has no control over her bowels, so she has to wear diapers. She will never get better and she will never live a normal life. Despite that, my mother has ruined our family, hoping she will have a miracle and recover. My mother has spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on my sister, everything from wheelchairs to doctor visits. We had to live in a one-bedroom apartment for 11 years because my mother spent all of the money she made on my sister. And nothing she bought made any difference. She will always be a drooling mess. Since my mother believes she will get better, she made me treat her like she was a real sister. I lost all of my friends growing up because my mom made me take her everywhere I went. If I told my mom I was going to the park, she would say, "Oh, a park? That sounds like something Jess would like. Take her with you." Not once did she stop to think about how absurd she sounded talking to her. One time, my mom took her to a movie theater. They made it barely 30 minutes through the movie before staff kicked her out because my sister was making so much noise coughing and choking on her saliva. Despite all this, I somewhat tolerated my sister until a few hours ago. I mentioned to my mother that I had planned a date with a girl I met at work. My mom said, "That sounds like fun, but I'm having coffee with a friend from college, so can you take care of Jess while I'm gone?" I told her that I couldn't because of my date and suggested that she hire a babysitter. My mother then said that I should just take her with me. And then I just exploded. I told her how stupid she was for suggesting such a thing. Bring my severely disabled, crippled sister along with me on a date with a girl because you are too lazy to hire a sitter? How crazy are you to think that's a good idea? Every moment of my life has been about Jess. I'm not supposed to have a career or a family of my own because I need to take care of Jess when my mom dies. My mom even discouraged me from going to college because then I wouldn't be able to take care of her. I told her how much damage she has done to the family because of my sister. We struggled financially my entire life, not because my mom is low income, but because she spent all of our money on Jess. We drove a crappy 1996 Subaru Outback for years, and my mom couldn't afford to buy a new car. But she had no problem shelling out thousands to see a specialist doctor who will say the same thing every doctor has. My sister is a glitch. She's not supposed to be here. She will never live a normal life. There's no reason she shouldn't be put in a home. I'm just so frustrated right now. I'm thinking about cutting ties with her and reconnecting with my father. My dad divorced her once he realized that the rest of his life was going to be taking care of Jess. I can't fault him. My mom forbid me from contacting him, but he's not the bad guy here. Am I wrong for refusing to let my husband's infertile friend name our son? My husband's 33 male best friend, Will, 37 male, is infertile. He got divorced 2 times because of it, and because he lied and hid his infertility. And his life hasn't been the same the day he was told he can't have kids. He has always had a soft spot for children, and when he found out that my husband and I were expecting, he was so thrilled and started buying us gifts and decor pieces that he made from his woodwork for the baby. My husband thinks that those are all nice gestures, but I couldn't help but feel uncomfortable, especially with how much he keeps mentioning the baby. A few days ago, my husband and I found the gender of the baby. The moment we told Will, he started calling the baby a random name he picked and was going to give to his baby if he wasn't infertile. He then started begging us to use this name, and my husband said it was a done deal. I refused, but my husband called me heartless and asked me to do this one small, nice gesture for his struggling friend to give him closure and honor him after all the things he has done for us. I flipped and said, "It's my baby, not his." Will heard this and left immediately. My husband yelled at me saying it's his baby too, and my behavior towards Will was aberrant. He left after him and didn't come back till the next morning. He kept saying the same thing and pressuring me to agree on the name, but I refused. Am I the asshole for choosing this hill to die on? Okay, I don't think you should be mad at Will. I think you should be mad at your husband for just automatically agreeing to it and not discussing it with you first.
I, female 32, gave birth to my son 5 weeks ago. My husband's mom has been camping in the living room ever since and inviting people over, making a mess in the house, etc. I said nothing because if I opened my mouth, my husband would start scolding me saying his mom is there to help and I should be grateful. What I did was ignore her and focus on my son. I handle feeding, diaper change, cleaning, and wiping. I only get a few hours of sleep so my husband's mom isn't really helping with the baby. But I thought to myself, well, at least she cooks for us. Last night, I was in the bedroom breastfeeding my son. I knew that I was late for dinner, but I thought that my husband and his mom saved a plate for me. Once I was done with my son, I walked out to the room and saw my husband and his mom sitting watching TV. I asked about dinner and my husband said that it was probably on the stove. As I was walking towards the kitchen, his mom loudly said that she didn't save me any food. I was absolutely shocked and I asked her why, and she simply said, "Well, we didn't see you at the dinner table, so I thought you weren't hungry." I lost it and yelled that I was feeding my son. Of course I was hungry. I was actually starving. She shrugged her shoulders and said it wasn't her fault that I didn't show up for dinner, but she knew damn well that I was with my son and hadn't eaten a thing in hours. My husband asked me to not raise my voice at his mom, but I told him that he saw what happened and didn't think about me being hungry or needing food. He lashed out asking what the fuck I wanted him to do and said, I don't know, maybe save some food for me? She defended him, saying it was selfish of me to basically berate him for eating his dinner after working long hours at the department. An argument ensued and I went inside the bedroom, packed a small bag for me and my son, called my brother to come take me to my mom's house, and my husband blew up at me as I was making my way out. We argued at the door and he told me that what I was doing was uncalled for and childish. I told him that I couldn't take his mom anymore. He said I should be ashamed of myself for talking about her like that after she literally put her life on pause so she could help me. My brother came out and I got into the car and left. He got some food for me on the way and I ate like a hungry bear. My husband never stopped calling though. In his last text, he called me nuts and demanded that I return today, but I said that I miss my mom and that I like it here in her clean home with her healthy food and I would like to stay for a while. He's lost it and got his family involved, accusing me of keeping my son away from him and punishing him over food. However, I promise you that he has full access to him but chooses not to come over simply because he hates my mom and refuses to be with her in the same room. Am I in the wrong for taking my newborn son and going to my mom's house because my husband and his mom didn't save me any food for dinner?
Storytime about how I almost got kidnapped at a grocery store. So a little background information, I was 16 and it was during the summertime, and I was super excited because I had just got my license, but my parents had this idea that if they made me drive around and do all their errands, that I would be a better driver. So I was pretty much like their BITCH. Anyway, so the one night my mom wanted to make this recipe that she saw on TikTok, and she didn't have the right seasonings for it, so who did she tell to go to the store? Yours truly, me. And on Sundays, the mini market that was in our town would close at 4 o'clock. So I had to drive like 30 minutes away to the nearest Target. And when I got there, I had to park in the back because they had like 10 handicap spaces up front, another 10 for when you sit there and they bring your shit out to you, and another 5 whenever you're picking something up that you already ordered. But in all honesty, that didn't bother me because I had never heard about any girls getting trafficked at a grocery store. Like for part 2. Part 2 about how I almost got kidnapped at a grocery store. So like I said, I parked all the way in the back of the parking lot. I mean, okay, not all the way in the back, but I was damn near close. So I go in and I'm not too familiar with this Target. I've only been here a few times because the mini market in my hometown is usually the one that I go to. So I'm looking around and I realize that there's this little girl following me. But it seemed like she was more like keeping an eye on me. Like she would stand like 20 feet behind me, but just like stare at me, you know, peek through the aisles. And she had did that for like 10 minutes. But whenever I finally went up to the checkout, she was gone. And this woman came up to me. She was like, oh my gosh, have you seen my daughter? She was running around the store. I don't know where she is. So I described the little girl to her that I saw. And she was like, yeah, that's her. I can't find her. Will you please help me look for her? And I didn't have the time for this because my parents were going to wring my neck. But I said, okay. Part 3 about how I was almost kidnapped at a grocery store. So like I said, she asked me to help look for her daughter and I was like, I'm going to go tell a Target employee. And she was like, no, don't worry. They're all already looking. They have security all over the place. And she was like, will you help me check the parking lot because I don't know if she left. She was like, I've been having them look for the past 10 minutes. So I didn't think anything of this because I didn't think that some lady would try to kidnap me. So I went into the parking lot with her and I'm like, okay, where do you think she would have went? Like, did you drive here? Did she maybe go to the car? And she was like, no, we live like 5 minutes down the road. Do you think that we could get in your car and drive around? And I said, yeah, because I thought that it would speed up the process. And my dad's truck was really high off the ground. So while we're walking, I'm like, I think someone's under my car. And she was like, what? No, it's probably just the shadow. And I'm like, no, there's someone under my car. So I turn around to walk back into the store and she starts like pulling my arm towards my car. So an employee called the police whenever I went in there, and long story short, they were trying to kidnap me.
I got strep and it was awful. 0 out of 10, would not recommend the experience at all. I had to spend like 5 days in bed, eating ice cream, cuddling my dog. Dog, Mace. Show your face. Thanks, babe. I just spent most of the week fading in and out of naps with my dog and my ice cream while Friends and Howl's Castle played on repeat on my TV. And all that time alone got me thinking that we really screwed the pooch on this 9 to 5 shit that we're doing for work, okay? We were meant to work. We were meant to sit in bed with popsicles, watching Comfort TV, and cuddling our pets. Get off your ass and work. For what? For what? The government's convinced us we need to be these little worker bees hustling 100 hours a week. If I had Kardashian money, you would never see me again. Do those ladies not understand that they can just go buy an island with a house on it and be hermits until they die? That's the dream. cream. Also, I was off the internet for most of the time, and I realized that nothing matters. Everyone on the internet is so angry, and everything seems like such a big deal. And it is a big deal, and we should care about things, but also we should just, take 5 days every now and then to just turn off our phones and not care about anything. The internet is a bad place, okay? You can just turn it off. Just delete your social media apps, and you can have food delivered to your home. Just Postmate some shit and watch an old movie from your childhood. Also, there's an insane amount of butt cracks in PG movies from my childhood. Ella Enchanted, so much ogre butt crack. And then in Howl's Castle, you see his almost whole butt 2 times. I'm not disappointed, I'm just surprised.
Am I the asshole for how I responded when my coworkers said I got a promotion because of my breast size? So I, female 33, have been working in this company for 3 years. After years of long shifts, working on weekends, and going the extra mile, the company finally gave me a promotion. When my coworkers heard, they were confused. Some pointed out that they've been at the company longer and work harder, and I ignored their comments because they were just venting. However, this one coworker named Michael joined us at lunch break and started venting about his demotion. Mind you, he never really even talks to us. I stayed quiet until he brought up my promotion and flat out said the reason I got promoted was because of my breast size. Am I the asshole for how I responded when my coworker said the reason I got a promotion was because of my breast size? I was shocked and I almost dropped my cup. I looked around and everybody was staring, and I responded by saying, and the reason you got a demotion is because of your brain size. His face went pale and people started laughing. He was pissed and walked out, and some coworkers approached me. They said Michael's reputation is ahead of him and he's one of the best this company hired. But due to his circumstances, he couldn't focus on work and got demoted. So I shouldn't imply that he's stupid and humiliate him in front of everybody. Oh, you mean like when he embarrassed her and said the only reason she could possibly get a raise was because of her body? Oh.